All right, guys. So today you're going to study chemical nomenclature, specifically naming for ionic compounds, and it's not recording the video. I don't know why it's not recording video. Eight out W. Nope, not showing that. Okay, ni modo. Okay, I will use my skills to review definitions, steps of naming, discussing examples, and then we're going to do our practice. Your journal, you should already have done it. Tutoring, again, tutoring is going to continue today on Google Meet from 4:30 to 5. Post all answers into Friday's review folder. Into Friday's folder. And don't forget that progress reports are due this week. Some of you might be getting private messages from me or private comments saying that you have extra days to work. That's only for the people who are failing. If you're passing, you got a good grade, you probably won't get that message. I'm probably only sending it to the students who need the extra help or the extra work. All right, so yesterday was all about writing formulas. Today's about naming. Okay, here you have the PowerPoint that I'm going to be going through. This is the worksheet that you're going to be working on. Okay, there's only 10 questions. Okay, only 10. Be prepared. And I'm mostly talking to my 8th period. We're going to discuss these tomorrow. Make sure that you have them ready to present. And each student will do a different one, just like we've been doing this week. Or just like we did yesterday. Okay? All right. So 5th period, thank you for helping me out with today's presentation. Let me give you the Pear Deck link so that you can join me. And let's get the party started. Please join me on Pear Deck. Okay? So today is all about binary and ternary ionic compounds. Okay? Binary and ternary ionic compounds. And it's all about naming. And again, this is a review presentation that all of the chemistry teachers have gone together and said, we're going to stop and we're going to review because this is very important for the next unit. So as a reminder, the definition of binary and ternary. If you have a binary ionic compound, it's going to be a compound that's going to have a monatomic metal cation and a monatomic non-metal anion. Okay? So here you have an example, NaCl. You got one capital letter, one lowercase. So you got capital N, small a. That's sodium. That's one element. You got capital letter C, small l. That element is chlorine. But according to the rules, we have to change the ending to IDE. And if you don't remember the rules, we're going to go over them in the presentation. So don't worry about that. A ternary ionic compound is an ionic compound composed of 3 or more elements, okay? 3 or more elements, and one of them or both of them can be a polyatomic. It says here, in a ternary compound, there is still one type of cation, one anion, and the cation, the anion, or both can be polyatomic. Your example, NaOH. Na, right? That's an element. It's from the last example. Na is sodium. OH is a polyatomic, right? If you look up in your valence sheet, if you look up here on your valence sheet, you can look up that hydroxide is OH. That's a poly. We do not change the name of polyatomics. That's how come sodium hydroxide stays as sodium hydroxide. We do not change. All right? So here are the steps for naming. Great attendance, 5th period. Let me give some credit to y'all because my internet's a little slow today. All right, so we got Caitlin, Hania, and Jose real quick. Caitlin, Hania, Josevia. Okay. Melissa and Arlette and Kevin. Alyssa, Arlette, and Kevin. Jose Diaz, class ends at 12:10. You stay until 12:10. 1:05, sorry. Do not leave at 1 o'clock. A ti te gusta, you like to leave early. You do not leave early. Urban, okay. So no más falta Urban. All right, Urban, I got you. Okay, so steps. Let's continue. If you are doing the steps for naming, first step, always count the number of elements that are present in the compound. If you have 2 elements, you're going to use the steps on the left. If you got 3 elements, or more, you're going to use the steps on the right. So, step 2, name the first element as shown on the periodic table or the valence sheet. DNC, do not change, right? Do not change. And then there's some asterisks because if the first element has multiple charges, if you see a plus, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, if it's got more than one charge, you're going to have to do some extra work. You're going to have to do what's known as uncrossing of the subscripts. You know how you cross them down? You know how you cross them down? Now you're going to uncross them back up. And then you're going to verify the charge of the anion to see if it's correct. And then I'll explain what you'd have to do when we do the example, okay? Because it's better if you see it. Step 3, name the second element, your anion. Your anion should change. You should name your anion, but change the ending to IDE, right? Anions, that negatively charged element. If you have 3 or more elements, or more, step 2, name the first element or the polyatomic as shown on the valence sheet or the periodic table. DNC, do not change the name of these guys, whether it's an element or a polyatomic. DNC, do not change. All right, step 3A. So you're either going to do 3A or 3B. You're not going to do both. If the second half of your compound, if it is an element, if your anion is an element, you're going to change the ending to IDE, just like you did in the last step. Excuse me. Just like you did in the other side. If it's not an element, if your anion is a polyatomic, you're going to do 3B. You will DNC. You do not change the name. Okay, whatever you see the name of the polyatomic according to the valence sheet is what you will write. Okay? And we have some examples on the next slide. You have NaCl and MgOH. Over here on the left, we have a binary example. Over here on the right, we have a ternary. How do I know? Just count the capital letters. You got capital letter N, small a, that's one element, sodium, right? And it says here that the name is sodium. Cl, capital C, small l, is chlorine. According to the rules, it says that you have to change the ending of your anion to IDE. Remember, the second half is the anion, the first half is your cation. Add IDE to the ending. So, what is the full proper name for this compound? Sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. Together. In the second example, we have a ternary compound. We have capital M, small g, magnesium. I've already written the name here. DNC, do not change the name for your first element or your cation. OH. OH is a polyatomic, right? We got O, we got H. That's 3 different elements. More than likely, OH is a polyatomic. If we go to our valence sheet, OH again is a polyatomic known as hydroxide. DNC, do not change it. What you see is what you write. Magnesium hydroxide, and that's it. Questions. I got one more example, but it's on Jamboard, okay? So if you're in Pear Deck, you need to come back to the Google Meet so you can see Jamboard. And we're only going to, I had 3 examples. We're not going to do all 3. We're only going to do the first one because the first one is the one that's going to have special circumstances. And I'm going to show you what I mean by special circumstances. And that's supposed to be a small O, not a big O. All right, so we got CO3N2. Okay? This is your formula. If you look up CO on our valence sheet, let's look up CO. Right here. If you look up CO, it's got multiple charges, right? It's either a 2 or a 3. We don't know which one by just looking at it. I don't know if I need to show a Roman number 2 or a Roman number 3. So we're going to have to do some extra work. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Jamboard. It says in the steps, and let me go back to the steps. And we're right here on the bottom. This is the asterisk that we were talking about earlier. If the first element has multiple charges, uncross the subscripts. Okay, so I'm going to go into Jamboard and I'm going to uncross. This guy is going to go up here. This guy is going to go up here. Okay, help me out. 5th period, help me out. What's going to be the charge for CO? What's going to be the charge for N? Well, look at the numbers that uncrossed. What is the charge for CO if you have this number right here uncrossing? 5th period? What do you think? What is the number that needs to uncross? Melissa, Oscar, Caitlin, Hania, what do you think? Alexia, what is the number that needs to uncross? It's right here. A 2. What's the number that needs to uncross for N? A 3. Right? So what are you going to do? It says in the steps, verify the charge of the anion is correct. The anion is always the negative charge. Right here. This is your negative charge. Is nitrogen, according to your list, a -3? So we need to go to the valence sheet. Right, Oscar? So if I look up nitrogen, Oscar, everybody in class, I need a yes or no from you in the chat on Google Meet. Is the charge for nitrogen a -3? Yes or no? Post it in the chat. If you are listening, show me you're listening and answer this question. Is nitrogen a -3 according to our valence sheet? Yes or no? Alexia says yes. Hania says yes. Oscar says yes. Alexia says yes again.
Irvin says yes again.
Irvin says yes. Yes, you're right. It says here that nitrogen is a -3. So if this guy is correct, Irvin, this number that you have is also correct. And it changes into a Roman number. And when I name it, I'm going to write the name of CO. We know it, right? We already looked it up. CO is called cobalt, right? He's called cobalt. So that's what I'm going to write. Cobalt. We know the name of N. We just talked about it. You guys told me that nitrogen is a -3. So when I write nitrogen, it's an element, right? So I'm going to cross out the end and I'm going to add IDE. So nitrogen becomes nitride. Cobalt 2 nitride. That is the name of our complete compound. Okay? All right, so we need 20 minutes of practice. We're gonna do. You guys are gonna do some practice. So 105 at 12:45. We need to stop our practice on Pear Deck. Okay, so we got about a little less than 10 minutes. A little less than 10 minutes. Okay, I want to do. We're gonna do the first one. We're gonna do the second one, and if we're running out of time, we're gonna jump into the fourth one. Okay, so. I need somebody in Pear Deck typing for me the names. Okay? I need one person in Pear Deck typing the name for me as we discuss. So it says here ALF3. It's binary. That means I only have two capital letters, right? One capital letter, AL, right? F, second capital letter, it's binary. What's the name of AL? I just posted the link. What's the name of Al according to the valence sheet? Aluminum, right? Do we need to do the extra work that we did for the last example? No. Why? Because there's only one charge. I only have to do the uncrossing and the verifying this if there's more than one charge. Aluminum does not have more than one charge, so you just write the name, aluminum. Okay? I need somebody here typing for me that the name of aluminum, that the name of Al is aluminum. Can somebody get in Pear Deck and do the typing for me? I don't want to do all the work. Okay, can somebody at least do the typing in the chat? I would prefer here online. Oscar, are you getting in to Pear? Oh, there we go. Type it up. Oh, what happened, Oscar? Somebody else gonna do it or what? Come on, get in there. Start typing. Type up aluminum, somebody. Can somebody get into Pear Deck so that they can type it for me? I need somebody in Pear Deck. Alexia, Melissa. Can somebody get into... I already put the link. Like, I don't know how many times. There's the link. Somebody get into Pear Deck, please. If not, I'm going to have to go into Jamboard, and I really don't want to do it. I want you guys. I want one of you guys to do the work. Okay, so according to this, the name of the first one is aluminum, right? Al is known as aluminum. Okay, now F. Can somebody do this on Pear Deck for me? Nobody can do this on Pear Deck for me. I got a bunch of students in here. All right, thank you for typing up aluminum. Okay. According to the presentation. Okay, so here, now we need to figure out, thanks, Irvin. We need to figure out what's the name of F. What is the name of F? We go to our valence sheet. The name of F is fluorine. According to the rules, fluorine needs to change its ending to IDE. Okay, so what are you going to type? You're going to type FLUOR, and then you're going to add IDE. FLUORIDE. There it is. Put it right next to aluminum, Irvin. IDE. D as in David, E. D, 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 as in David. Take off the N. Take off the N. There it is. Now put it right next to aluminum. Over here. Drag it over here. There it is. There it is. That's the answer for the first one. Okay. What about Na? Na, if you look it up on the valence sheet, is known as sodium. He's only got one charge. So what do we write? Sodium. So Irvin's going to type up sodium. Okay. Sodium. 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 There it is. Perfect. Okay. The second part, CO3. That's not an element. That's got to be a poly. So we're going to look at the section for polys right here. CO3. What is the name? Carbonate. It's a poly. DNC. Do not change the name for your polys. So what should Irvin start typing? He's going to start typing carbonate. 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 Very good, Irvin. Okay, we're running out of time. So, Irvin, we're going to jump into FeCl3, the fourth one. So, if I go to my valence sheet and I look up Fe, Here's Fe. Uh-oh. We got multiple charges. What do I need to do? I need to do extra work. I need to uncross and verify. I need to uncross the subscripts and verify. Okay? So let me go into Jamboard, Irvin, for a little bit. Or do you want to do it here? Well, you know what? Let me do it into Jamboard. You'll just type the name. Okay. So here we are. Nope. Okay, so here we are. We're at FeCl3. Okay. So I'm going to just write FeCl3. Step 1, we have to uncross, right? This guy's going to go up here. This guy's going to go up here. Remember, if there is no number, you always assume that it's a 1. So when you uncross the charges, Fe is going to have a +3, Cl -1. Okay? So right now, I need to verify that this is correct. According to your valence sheet, is chlorine a -1? Okay, so let's go to chlorine. Here. Is chlorine -1? Yes or no in the chat? Alexia, Oscar, Hania, Mario, Francisco. Is the charge for chlorine -1? I need a yes or no in the chat on Google Meet. I don't see anything. Only Alexia says yes. Caitlin says yes. Mario says yes. Melissa, I haven't heard from Melissa or Jose or Francisca. Is the charge for chlorine a -1? Yes. Okay, so if this is correct, this charge is also correct. So this changes to become a Roman number. Well, we know the name of Fe, right? The sheet said that the name for Fe is iron. So what should Irvin start to write? He's going to start to type up that the name is iron. It's got a Roman number 2 in between, and that chlorine has to now end in IDE. All right, so chlorine is what we have for Cl. We need to cross this out and we need to add IDE. So iron 3 chloride is the name of this compound. Iron chloride. Iron 2, iron 2 is, or 3, chloride. Chloride. Roman number 3. Make sure you put Roman number 3, Irvin. It's got 3 eyes. 3 eyes. 3 eyes. And take off the N. 3 eyes. Capital I's. In chlorine, there shouldn't be an N in chlorine. It should be CHLORIDE. CHLORIDE. Iron 3 chloride. Thanks, Irvin. You're the best. Okay, so we're gonna stop there with the practice using Pear Deck. I'm gonna cut you off, Irvin. Sorry. All right. 8th period, and my other students working on your own, you're gonna work on this sheet on your own. 8th period, you are to do all 10. Tomorrow, because I'm not going to be with you in class today, I have a doctor's appointment. Tomorrow we'll discuss these questions. Each student will do one, and you will explain to me how you decided to name it. All right? Any questions? Any questions?